Hello and welcome to Computing Fundamentals 2. In this video, I'm going to describe what you need to use for doing the lab work. So basically, I have said before that you can use a Prolog. But obviously, you can also use a simple tool called SageMath, which is available to be downloaded and installed in your computer. Or you can use SageMath Cloud, which is an online tool that you can basically employ to do your lab work every week. So in this video, we are going to focus on describing the process of installing and running SageMath. If you want to use Prolog, it's also a choice for you, and you can basically submit your lab work every week.
Hi and welcome to Computing Fundamentals 2. In this video I'm going to explain how you can run and download SageMath, which is the software we are going to use for the lab work. Now the first thing we need to do is to go to sagemath.org, this website where we have the software that we are going to need for our lab. So once you go to download, you select the operating system that basically match the laptop or your personal computer. In this video, I'm going to explain how you are going to use Windows. I presume that most of you has Windows and Mac OS as well. So once you click Windows, will take you to the following page where there is many websites that you can get the image from. Now, if you want to select, you can select this web server located in United Kingdom. And here you will find that Sage is basically available as an OVA image, which is basically an image for a virtual machine suitable for VirtualBox. And as you know, VirtualBox is a free software that you can download from the internet. So basically you can get it for free. You can get VirtualBox for Windows from the website virtualbox.org. So by this step, I assume that you have already VirtualBox installed in your computer, and all you need to do is to click here in this link to download the Sage OVA file. After you finish the download, and this is maybe take a few hours because this is about 3 GB. What you need to do is to open VirtualBox. I have a Mac OS machine, but the same process apply for you. And you need to click from VirtualBox file, import, and then you locate the location where is your Sage image, which is this file, sage-7.3.ova file is located. And you need to click open, and then you need to click in the button continue. In this step, there is something very important I want you to take care about, which is basically this checkbox. Don't select it because this might lead to a network problem. Once you finish from that, all you need to do is just to click on the import, and you wait for a few seconds. This takes between 1 minute to 2 minutes based on your computer. While we are waiting for this, I need to explain two things. First, Sage will be available on the lab class, so the computers on the lab classroom already installed with Sage. Also, there is a very good and easy option that you can use to write your lab every week, which is SageMath on the cloud. So if you go back here into the main website of Sage, so let's say you don't need basically to download Sage on your computer, you don't have space, or you just need to have something handy and you can access it from anywhere. You can get SageMath Online, which is basically a cloud-based Sage implementation that you can use out of the box. The URL for this, if you can see here in the video, it's cloud.sagemath.com, and you need to sign up to this account very easily. So let's say you can use your Facebook login, you can use your GitHub, your Twitter, or your Gmail basically. So if you select Gmail and then you select your DIT credentials, mine are 453543 at DIT. And here basically it's going to be your student number, something like D, and this is like a student number that I have, 161246692 at mydit.ie. You click next, and then here you put, it will take you to the DIT services. So you need to make sure you put your credentials here, and then you basically make a login. Let me make sure that I have the right password. And this will ask me to allow Sage Cloud to access my details and email address. So I click allow. At this step, I have already an account with Sage, so I can create a new project. Let's say this is my Lab 1 project. This is Lab 1 workbook, and then I create a project. By the way, the same UI here you see in Sage Cloud is basically what you are going to get once you install SageMath in your computer. So let's say I have now to start a project, so I can start a new project. What you will find that Sage Cloud a little bit is slow sometimes because it's a free server, but it's very handy, it's very easy. And here I will create my first Sage worksheet, and I open the Sage worksheet as you are going to see in the next step. It's a little bit slow, so I'm going to open it again. What is good also about Sage Cloud that you can load or drop your files here that you are going to build, for example, locally, and you want to have them ready. Now I am in Sage, basically it's running, so I can type now any mathematical equation as we are going to see by Lab 1, which is giving you a basic practice of how Sage feel and what are the commands for Sage. You will find so many useful information about graphs in Sage, and I'm going to do loads of labs on this. Also, you can use Sage for number theory, calculus, linear, and plots, and many useful things. Now, once you are in and everything is ready, let's say you type 4 plus 4, and then you press run. This will type 8. You can also make another mathematical equation like 4 multiplied by 7, and then you click run. This is going to build the result for you. We will practice all of this during the lab, in the lab classes. Now, let us go back to Sage in VirtualBox. So by now you have VirtualBox for Sage ready to go, and the process is really easy. So if you don't want to use cloud.sage.math, what you can do, you use Sage locally using VirtualBox. So you start this machine, which is Sage-7.31, and once you finish the loading thing and the loading of the machine, you will find that Sage is working, and you will see this page. Now let me close this and let me make it clear for you. So this is my virtual machine and Sage is running. Let's say you want to create a new file. So this is a new Sage 7.3, and in the same way you can type here a mathematical expression in order to execute and basically see the result of it. So this is basically how is Sage working. Now, if you don't want to stay in this machine of Sage, and let's say you want to access it from your local machine, so you can basically, what you can do is, while this VirtualBox is running from your machine, if you type now localhost and then port 8000, this will take you to the same page where we basically have what we have in the virtual machine. So this is your Sage workbook that you can basically use in the same way. So here I can type 4, 5 multiply by 2 and I press enter, and you see this button, it's the same button to run what you have already there in the line. This is basically how we are going to use Sage for Windows, or if you like, you can use Sage in this handy website, which is cloud.sagemath.com, which I highly recommend if you don't have a space in your computer. The last thing I want to describe for you is, if you have a Mac OS, what you can find in SageMath website, you will find that there is an available Mac OS version of Sage that you can download out of the box. It's an app. If you have OS X, you need to select Intel, and once you select Intel, you will find lots of files. Now this one is going to download the source code for Sage if you want to use command line. I'm not going to go through it at this stage. But if you look to this website file, it's called Sage 7.3 app.dmg. This is an image which can basically download and install Sage as an application for Mac OS. And you can run it from there. So you will see after you download this file that it's very easy to use and very handy, which is, by the way, it's going to run the same thing for you. It's going to run a localhost 8000 web page, and this is called the notebook, in order to write your Sage files in it. So I wish you understand now what we are going to do and what we need to have installed in our computers in order to do the lab. Thank you for watching, and see you in the lab.
So this video about installing and running SageMath in your personal computer or using SageMath on the cloud. Thank you for watching, and see you in the labs.